Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Genesis Mindset. And due to the thumbnail, I'm imagining I'm going to have a lot of Korean viewers as well. So, annyeonghaseyo to all the Koreans who will be viewing this video. And I wanted to just start off by saying thanks to everyone who voted for the next video content that I'll be producing for the Genesis Mindset. So it seems like Teddy Bear is the clear winner. So I'm going to do a bit of a deep dive on Teddy Bear in my next video and why I'm actually so bullish on Teddy Bear. I don't usually get behind memes and I'm certainly not getting behind it to shill it. Again, as always, I'm just presenting to you what I like. If it happens to shill, then that's perfectly fine, but I'm not actually here to do those sorts of things. That's not what this channel is about. So I just like learning and deep diving on these things and the different kinds of phenomena that happen in cryptocurrency. So with that said, let's actually get into the episode. So as always, welcome to the Genesis Mindset. This is a channel about mindset for investing, trading, and life. And always with that disclosure that this is personal opinion only and it's not financial advice. So don't ever do anything based on what I'm saying because I'm only just giving you my personal opinion. And the whole point of this channel is to really share my mindset and to share this journey that I'm going through. That if you have the right mindset, you can actually achieve anything that you put your mind to. You can succeed at anything if your mind is correct. So with that, why I'm super bullish on BTCMobick. So in this particular episode, we're going to go over the genesis of BTCMobick. So in the last episode the other day, I just covered about Bitcoin. So I wanted to actually set the scene for what Bitcoin is and what the concept of a hard fork is. And now I'm actually going to go into the reasons why I'm bullish on BTCMobick. This is something that's going to take me a few episodes. It's something that I did pre-record the other day, but there were some errors, so I had to re-record it. So this is the re-recording, after which I will be doing the teddy bear episode. But I wanted to, again, just tell the story about why this phenomenon is really incredible to me and what makes me so excited about it. So now let's get into the founder. So Professor Oh Tae Min. So this is the Korean way of saying things. Oh is the surname, Tae Min is his first name. So in the English way, we would say Tae Min Oh, but from here on out, I'm going to call him Mr. Oh. He is a professor, and this is just the way that I'd like to do it because also the Koreans are very respectful of their elders, and I'd really like to acknowledge their culture in this because it's actually coming from their culture. So Oh Tae Min, Professor Oh, is a blockchain professor at Konkuk University. So he's actually studied commerce and economics of money. So he studied this and became a professor of blockchain and has been studying Bitcoin since 2014. And he's written many books about Bitcoin. He was one of the first authors to produce a book about Bitcoin in South Korea. So it's something that he's very well adept with. So he's been in the Bitcoin community for a long time. He's studied, he's lectured, and he's been involved for many, many years. And in the years that he's been involved, he's obviously been a passionate advocate for Bitcoin, but he's also tried to see what it is about from the perspective of commerce and economics and what blockchain can actually do for the world. So he's actually proposed many different kinds of improvements for the blockchain, but unfortunately, he's received a lot of rejection for his ideas from the maxi community. So what would you have to do if your ideas are constantly rejected? Well, you actually have to start taking that action for yourself. If you can't make the change in the place that won't allow it, then you actually go somewhere else and instigate that change. So this is exactly what he's done. So he has forked Bitcoin and created BTCMobick with some of his incredibly innovative ideas. So he's met with all the bigwigs. So he's had meetings with Vitalik, and he's really recognized Vitalik Buterin's genius from Ethereum. But what he did also recognize with his own commerce and economics background, that while Vitalik was a genius on the tech side, he didn't really fully understand the implications of blockchain and cryptocurrency from the economics perspective. And this is something that Mr. Orr wanted to actually explore himself. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play you this short little clip. And this short little clip will just give you a slice of the kind of character that he is. So he's a very charismatic, very powerful figure. And you'll get a sense of that from what he's actually talking about in this little clip here. So I'm just going to press play.
말해서 정부는 어떤 명분을 가지고 돈을 찍어내고 이자를 낮추지만 그것은 근로 대중들이 속아주기를 기대하고 하는 행동입니다. 주지의 사실을 인지하지 못한 상태에서. 그래서 우리는 끊임없이 포컬 포인트에서 벗어나요. 그리고 포컬 포인트를 정확하게 알고 있는 엘리트들과 가까운 기업이나 이런 데서는 계속 이익을 보는 거죠. 이 게임이 시작된 지 굉장히 오래됐고 이 게임이 끝날 기미가 보이지 않습니다. 그래서 저도 주류 경제학을 공부했지만 제가 비트코이너가 됐던 이유는 비트코이너가 주장하는 그런 무정부적인 세상이 행복할 것이라는 것을 제가 믿기 때문이라기보다는 주제 사실을 가지고 장난치고 있는 정부에 대해서 브레이크가 필요하다는 확신을 갖고 있기 때문에 그렇습니다. 지금 저금리가 거의 마이너스 금리가 지속되고 있는 이 이상한 현상이 굉장히 오래되고 있습니다. 언젠가는 붕괴될 수밖에 없는 그런 이상한 시스템입니다. 왜냐? 대중들이 계속 속진 않거든요. 다만 주제 사실을 이렇게 조금씩 속이면 대중들이 도저히 믿을 수 있는 것이 없다라는 생각만 더 들어요. 그래서 결국에는 나중에는 어떤 상태가 되냐면 백약이 무효가 된 상태가 됩니다. 정부가 무슨 말을 해도 대중이 믿지 않는 거죠. 정부가 무슨 말을 해도 대중이 믿지 않고 자신의 자산을 한국 사람들이 묻고 있잖아요. 어디다가. 정부가 뭐라고 하든지 간에 정부의 주제 사실을 비웃고 우리나라 대중들이 스스로 포컬 포인트를 만들었잖아요. 그게 뭐예요? 부동산, 아파트입니다. 강남 아파트가 그러니까 우리나라에 뭐라고요? 포컬 포인트, 쉘링 포인트입니다. 아시겠습니까? 이상입니다.
So he talks about the Schelling focal point. So it's a philosophical perspective about actually the government diverting people's attention and creating a focal point so they don't actually focus on this idea that he's spoken about this as well, that really the concept of money printing is just a scam. And if people actually knew that it was a scam, they wouldn't stand for it. And in actuality, with the dispersion of the internet and the dissemination of information all around the world, faster than the speed of light, people are starting to wake up to this concept. This is exactly why so many people get into cryptocurrency, myself included. Yes, here for the degen gains, but also we're involved in it because of the social element behind it. The fact that there is this centralized monetary system that benefits a few and outcasts the rest. So it's supposed to be an inclusive system, but in actuality, if it was a completely equal and inclusive system, there wouldn't be any issue. There wouldn't be any uproar. There wouldn't be any problems in the world. It would just be global harmony and global peace, because the system should be one that is perfect, but it's not a perfect system. It has imperfections. This is not to say that it hasn't served its purpose up until now. I'm very grateful to capitalism. I'm very grateful for the world that it has brought. But now we're at a point where there's a tipping point. Things don't work as they are. So what can we do? We're going to try and discover new ways of creating an economic system. And that's what I believe blockchain and cryptocurrency is all about. I don't necessarily think Bitcoin's going to be the one true currency, the reserve currency. I don't really believe any of that. I just think what's actually happening with cryptocurrency is it's this field of experiments that are setting the scene for what a new financial system could look like. That's the things that really get me extremely interested. So that is a little bit about Mr. Oh, and all that I know about him is through translations and subtitles like this. So I'm very thankful again to all the people that have translated, and my meditation friend Robin. She spent quite a lot of time translating some of his videos, his more important videos that haven't been translated with subtitles. So this is how I get my information. So all of this stuff is really just condensed hours and hours of research presented to you in short form. So on to the next slide. So the Bitcoin hypothesis. So the hypothesis that he's formulated BTCMobick based on is 3 points. So first, that money is obtained, how money is obtained is more important than how it's used. So what he's actually doing with BTCMobick is he's experimenting with these 3 concepts, this hypothesis that he's developed. He's going to explore whether or not this hypothesis is correct through BTCMobick. Then number 2, what people gain by investing time, effort, and material costs gives something a certain value that will be upheld by them. This is something that's extremely interesting. And number 3, it's better for the growth of an ecosystem to distribute large supplies of coins to a few people rather than a small supply of coins to many people. So Bitcoin was the first phenomenon to surpass the meaningful exchange price of $1 with no guarantee of anything. There was no guarantee of anything with Bitcoin, but somehow it went past $1. And this is a very significant number in our mind. And so BTCMobick wants to replicate this, and it's already succeeded at this. And so what he's actually really interested in is these ideas and how they help solidify the focal point, so the Schelling focal point, so the price actually rises quickly. And one of the really fascinating things was I only discovered this in the white paper the other day. This is one of the reasons why I re-recorded it, because I'd actually got the white paper just after I'd done the recording. And I was actually witnessing all of this before I even knew that this was the purpose. So what I'd started to see in BTCMobick, BTCMobick, was there's this network, this super strong core of network that's been facilitated by this airdrop design that was blowing my mind. I'd never seen it before. And then when I'd actually read the white paper, this was the design intention. I was like, wow, these points are actually being proven already. So it actually got me really, really, really bullish on what this is. And again, not even bullish from the perspective of a price point of view, bullish from the perspective of what it can actually do. Some of the innovative ideas I've read in the white paper are phenomenal. So they're from an economic and commerce perspective. So what he actually predicted is coming to fruition. So this is fantastic. So now BTCMobick, it's based on Moby Dick. So the whole concept around Moby Dick is catching whales. So it's one of the ideas incorporated into the name and one of the ideas incorporated into the philosophy of this token. So basically with the fork now, anyone who held Bitcoin prior to 2019, when this first hard forked, can actually claim in the BTCMobick app. So you can actually download the BTCMobick app. And if you had a private key, not held on exchanges, you can claim the equivalent amount in BTCMobick. And one of the other ideas is to lure out the original Bitcoin whales. So this is the whales that were prior to 2012. So this is referred to as the Satoshi era, when Bitcoin mining blocks were being mined for 50 Bitcoin per mining block. Of course, the halvening reduces that by half after every 3 or 4 years. But prior to this, these whales present a huge threat to the validity of Bitcoin in the global financial system, because there's this huge negative sentiment around how much they own, the value of it, and if they move anything, it can create a lot of volatility in the price. So it actually makes it extremely unstable. So there's a lot of fear around this idea that these original Bitcoin holders will actually dump the price. So the idea here is, if they can actually come forward and claim some BTCMobick, then it shows, these whales are actually active and there can actually be some form of communication that can occur between them. So it's actually really about luring those whales out and catching those Bitcoin whales. So that's a really interesting idea. So if BitMobick is successful in this, it can remove the negative sentiment around these unknown whales dumping and affecting the price. So where did the network actually start? So obviously, Mr. Oh is Korean, South Korean. So this is something that I was already excited about. I'm a big fan of Korea. So the meditation that I do originated from Korea. So I've known a lot about Korea for quite some time. So South Korea as well, in terms of cryptocurrency, they regularly top trading volume and adoption in the world compared to the world. So quite often they'll sit in the top 5, sometimes even in the top 3 of trading volume and adoption. So when you consider the scale of their population versus the rest of the world, it's really quite phenomenal. And the size of their country, it's really quite phenomenal. And the reason is they're very culturally attuned. They're very forward thinking. So their culture is always looking to the future and always trying to bring a better future to the present. That's really just something that's really ingrained in their culture. And the reason why I wanted to show this picture in the background is this is a Korean pine tree. And so in actuality, one of the principles behind this, again, I'd had all these pictures ready to go before I even read the white paper and the concepts behind it, is that a tree that grows in harsh conditions often has extremely strong and deep and wide roots. So they can actually withstand many different harsh conditions and they last longer. They really live and thrive. On the contrary, trees that grow in really good conditions, things with lots of water, lots of sunshine, like perfect ideal conditions, they're much more prone to death. They're much more prone to falling over. They're a lot weaker than these types of trees. So I really found that concept quite fascinating. And then when I read it in the white paper, that this is actually what he was trying to do and hypothesize, and actually where this design came from for the airdrop, really blew me away. So now the airdrop. So anyone who doesn't know what an airdrop is, so when a cryptocurrency is released, it can be released in lots of different forms. One particular form is through an airdrop. So an airdrop is basically where you receive a token by normally you have like a wallet. The way that you transact with cryptocurrency, you have your own private wallet. So if you have a private wallet connected to different applications on the internet that trade cryptocurrency, you will get a certain amount of free cryptocurrency if you're eligible for this airdrop. So you might have to do something in order to get that airdrop. You might have to like sign something on a website or click something, like something very menial. Sometimes you even just get it for free without having to put any time and effort in. So the effort that's required in an airdrop is extremely limited. So the value that you have in these airdrops in your mind is like, well, I've just got this thing that I did nothing for. I'm just going to dump the price as soon as it gets some kind of a value. The genius of this. So this picture here in the background, you can see Mr. Orr in the bottom there with his beautiful orange shirt. I really liked that orange shirt. I was here. This is my picture that I took. So this was filled. So this is in Brisbane. And so I'm going to go into a bit more detail about this particular airdrop. But this was filled with people from South Korea who traveled around the world following Mr. Orr to receive the airdrop. And that's something that's extremely innovative that I've never seen before. So the cost in time and energy, and obviously money and travel, gives it automatic value in their mind. So it's not just, oh, I've got my MetaMask wallet and I've just received this token. It's like, oh, great, I've got 1,000 of these tokens and I'm just going to wait for the price to go up and sell it. It has no meaning, no significance in my mind. These people actually physically traveled to locations to receive this airdrop, sometimes hikes, sometimes up mountains, traveling around the world, things that weren't easy. And he specifically did this so that he could give it value in their mind. And just like I mentioned before, he preferences giving many coins to a few people rather than the other way around. So this is the idea here, is to really solidify that foundation. So when there's this core of really strong believers who have a lot of tokens, it's in their interest to want to grow that network. Whereas if you've only got a few tokens and you're just one of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands with these few tokens, you might always be expecting somebody else to do all the work for you to actually grow that network. And so this is something that's really interested about it. And just for the sake of transparency, I do have some tokens from this airdrop, but I only have such a small amount. I've got the least amount that you could have got in an airdrop. So I really don't have a lot. And I've received many different kinds of airdrops, but I've never cared about it like I've cared about this because of the way that I saw this network actually forming from the ground up. So obviously it started in Korea. It started on a mountain, went to a hike, it went to Jeju Island, it went to Los Angeles, and it went to Australia, Sydney, and then finished in Brisbane. And so finished 15 minutes from the meditation center that I run. So this is something that I was like, I have to take this opportunity. And so this concept of sacrifice for free tokens is really something that, again, I know from Pulse Chain. So people donated money as a sacrifice for freedom of speech, freedom of movement. Now, there was no expectation of anything in return. Same thing with this. There's no expectation. People sacrificed their time, their energy to go here and get these tokens for free. So Mr. Orr gave them these tokens, but there's no expectations there. There's no one that's going to be doing any of the work. Everyone in the community actually has to do their part if they want this to grow. And so that's one of the really fascinating things about this. Again, that physical output of time and energy is what gives it value in these people's mind. Even myself, I drove an hour and a half to receive this airdrop, so it automatically had some value. So, okay, on to continuing with that airdrop design. So this is my meditation buddy Choi. So he actually came from South Korea. So they had people from South Korea traveling to all these different locations and getting an airdrop at every single one of these locations. So he actually came, and it started in Sydney in Australia, and he introduced it to my friend there who does the meditation. And so she went. So that's Robin, who does some of the translating for me. So she went, and then when she came to Brisbane, she said, oh, there's this thing. Would you like to come along? And she knows I'm into cryptocurrency. So I said, yeah, why not? I'll check it out. But what really, well, first of all, actually, everyone's saying, oh, it's going to be better than Bitcoin. And I was very hesitant because it's like, okay, I've heard everybody says this. Everybody says their cryptocurrency is the best. So I was very much like, yeah, okay, sure. I've heard this a million times. But actually going there and seeing the atmosphere of enthusiasm and excitement that was being generated by all of these people was just phenomenal. I could really pick up on that sense of passion from these people that were so passionate and so willing to share and generous with their time. It was really such a beautiful atmosphere to be a part of. There was people who obviously English is not their native language. They were really willing to share all of their knowledge, and they were excited for me to learn. And they were really encouraging me to want to learn for myself, because that's the whole point. You actually learn for yourself. And once you learn for yourself, it's not about just being told and, hey, this is the greatest thing. No one was shilling it like that. It's actually about you learning. And when you learn for yourself, then you start to understand it. Then you start to understand, that's what makes this so profound. And this is something that's slowly been dripping into my mind as I've been learning and learning over the last few months. And so the more that I learn, the more that my mind is just extremely excited by it. And I can actually see why they were so excited. So obviously the airdrop concluded with that image was basically the end of the airdrop, which was at the University of QUT in Kelvin Grove campus. So this is, again, just 15 minutes from where I live. So I don't consider these things lightly, of all places in the world. So, okay, now I'd seen the expansion of this network. I'd been there and it's like, wow, this is phenomenal. I've never witnessed an airdrop like this. So I was very excited, but okay, what's the next step? Where's it actually going? So I've joined the Discord, joined the Telegrams, and just passively observing for the first few months how it's actually growing. So already it's starting to expand into the physical world. But the most exciting thing, one of the most exciting things which I will be delving into, is the way that they're actively engaging with and trying to form business relationships. So relationships with corporations and universities to actually help expand the network. And this is something that I dived into on the white paper, and I'm really excited to share that for the next episode on the BTCMobick. So stay tuned for that one. But also, they're having a presence in the physical world. So this is the Mobickers Cafe. And so here you can actually spend any of the Bitcoin forked tokens. So already they're starting to create a presence in reality. So here you can come get a coffee, and you can't spend fiat money. You can only spend BTCMobick, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, any of the forked Bitcoins, because it's all on the same network. So this idea of blending the digital and the physical and really creating a presence in the physical world is something that I'm also really excited about, because again, a lot of people think, oh, you've got this currency and it's this fake internet money, can't actually do anything with it. But you can. You can go to a store and you can buy a coffee, you can grab a meal. That's actually something that people are not actually able to see yet. This is the world that can and will emerge as a result of this. People can only see it from the perspective of fiat, because this is the commonly accepted idea of money, but it's only commonly accepted in our mind, and it's only given to us as a commonly accepted idea by the government. We have to really understand this. And once we really understand this, value can actually be created out of anything. And this is one of the core theses behind this BTCMobick. Okay, so what now? So what I've witnessed so far is this super core, this foundation. Again, I'd had all these slides presented before I read this is what the actual design intention was. The way they designed the airdrop was very deliberate, based on this idea of creating a very strong network core. And I have to tell you, this is one of the strongest network foundations I've ever seen. So again, I've been involved in many different kinds of cryptocurrencies. I've never seen the foundation of a network as powerful as this. Already in my own mind, it has such strength in my own mind, and I've just been witnessing the strength of it everywhere else around the world. It's blowing me away. So it's really obviously taken off big time in Korea. India started to adopt it, Southeast Asia. Now it's really starting to expand out into Australia and into America. And it's only just starting in Australia. And in actuality, I'm very excited to announce that I've actually been invited to join the Motion Trust Tech company. So this is the company, the corporation that's actually advancing BTCMobick in Australia. And I had no intentions or anything like that to join this team, but Dominic invited me to the team. So Dominic and the team of Motion Trust Tech have invited me to join the team, and I've gratefully accepted. It's a really exciting opportunity. I'm really enjoying learning about it and actually being able to deliver it to all of you guys. So I'm actually a part of the team now, which is really exciting. So yes, there's going to be plenty more of this type of content in the future. And what I'm going to be talking about in the future, again, is diving a bit more into the white paper. So as I uncovered it, I want to uncover the tokenomics. And one of the most brilliant concepts that I've ever seen is the public's goods supply. So what this is it's like an origin address. So Mr. Oh is like the origin. So he created it. He minted a certain amount of tokens for himself, and all of those tokens, he's promised to not sell any of those tokens and use them all to grow the network. This is something that I think is brilliant, the way he's actually designed that. I'm going to talk about also the technology and the utility behind the token. And really with this continuing question of how will they actually keep expanding the network, and is it going to be possible? From what I've seen in the white paper, I can't see how it cannot grow based on what I've seen. I cannot see how it can't. The innovation of these ideas is just phenomenal. And this is where the real genius of this project comes into it. And I'm just going to, so thank you very much for watching this presentation. And I'm going to, again, always my website. So I write about this. So basically my process for learning about BTCMobick is getting the translations, reading it from other kinds of people like Samuel J. Hahn and anywhere else that I can get content that's already translated. And then I also write about it. So it's all on my blog. I'm going to leave those links in the description. And then also you can, if you want to connect, you can connect with me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I'll also leave those links in the description. And what I want to actually quickly show now is I'm just going to show an example of how this is actually growing. So this is my Twitter, and I had, like I just mentioned, written the blog. And so I'd written a blog and I'm really excited about it. So I shared all the different links, and I shared those links with the BTCMobick community. And the other day, it was just blowing up. My Twitter was blowing up. I had all these notifications. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I really try and respond to every single comment. That's just something that I really like to do. I want to see what people are actually saying. So in order to do that, I actually respond to their comments, and it's really cute because they're Korean. English is not their native language, so they're very simple comments like beat Mobick, Mobick to the moon. So that's really cute. And I just did a little rocket ship and a moon there, and an astronaut rather. And I've tried to respond to every single comment, but I was just inundated. And I was like, what is going on here? How is this going so viral, this little clip? Press a like on my own there. And this is one of the ideas that they're doing. So in order to actually encourage people to engage with the community, they're actually rewarding people for engaging with these types of content. So they'll actually set little tasks and say, okay, anyone who subscribes to this or anyone who comments on this can receive a small amount of BTCMobick. So they're using the token supply to help grow and expand the network. This is an extremely good idea, and it avoids all the securities laws in the way that it's actually designed, again, which I'll be covering in the next episode. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you were able to get a bit of an insight as to why I'm actually so excited about this particular project. It's not about the price. I love the fact that the price is already so powerful. I didn't want to go too long in this episode, but I will actually also be covering what differentiates this kind of an airdrop and this kind of a fork with some of the other forks, and whether or not this kind of a fork actually has the legs to outgrow some of those other forks. I really do believe that it does. I really do believe because of the foundation of the network, it can outgrow those other networks, because it's not just about money. Yes, that's what it's about. Everybody's interested in cryptocurrency for the money. There's no doubt about that. There's no denying that. But it's the core philosophy, it's the core ideas that is actually trying to implement into the world. It's actually trying to make the world a better place and actually trying to give validity to this idea of cryptocurrency. And it's some of its goals are so big. Like, we're talking like the ideas that Cardano tries to do. They want to help the unbanked. They want to help people in third world countries. And the way to do that is through cryptocurrency. The current financial system has really let those countries down. And this is something that I'm extremely passionate about. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this develops. And I'm really looking forward to being a part of the Motion Trust Tech Corporation. So thank you very much to Dominic and the team. And thank you very much to the BTCMobick community for all the engagement, for liking, commenting, sharing. I try to comment as best as I can. It's helping me also continue my learnings of Korean. So I hope I say this right, but 나는 한국의 남자. So learning just a little bit. I'm sure that was said incorrectly, but essentially for anyone that was English, it said I'm a Korean man. So thank you very much, everybody. 감사합니다.